I'll be able to hang in there.
What was the injury?
My knee.
What's going on, guys? Justin here with my Packers Week 13 review, talking about a big-time win over the Detroit Lions. What a game on Thanksgiving. This was the first game in a while that I woke up truly excited for. For some reason or another, I kinda knew the Packers were going to win this game. Maybe it's because they always play to their opponent's level. I don't know, but they were obviously ready for this game. I'll get more into it in this video, but Matt LaFleur coached his best game of the year, and his stars balled out. What a performance by the team. Let's start it off with what went well. The offense was really good for most of the day. They had 9 total drives and scored on 5 of them, but subtract their end of half kneel down and that makes 5 of 8. They iced the game on a 4th down conversion and then ran out the clock. So I would say 6 of their 8 drives were successful. At one point in the game, they scored a touchdown on 4 straight drives. That has definitely not happened at all so far this season. Jordan Love looked phenomenal, making some big time throws from less than ideal pockets too. His arm talent is vastly underrated. He can make a throw off balance, fading away, just about whatever it is, and he gets the ball right where it needs to be. Once he gets an offensive line that will consistently give him time, he's going to be recognized as one of the elite quarterbacks in the game. The running game was pretty solid too. Jacobs averaged 4.9 yards per carry on 17 touches and broke off some runs of 10 or more yards, which we haven't seen much of this season. He had a long of 29 yards too, which I'd bet is his longest of the year. Hopefully they can start getting the run game going to really unlock this offense. I have to mention the pass catchers too. Dontayvion Wicks with a career game, catching 6 passes for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also caught the game ender on 4th down. What a performance from Wicks in what was likely his best game since early last year. Christian Watson also saw a career-high 10 targets, and he looks to be the #1 wide receiver on the team. He had a couple of nice 3rd down conversions, and obviously the 51-yard touchdown, which was a thing of beauty from Love and Watson. The throw from Love was so baller. Watson wasn't even all that open, but Love launched a ball so far down the field that Watson was just able to outrun the corner and secure the catch. Between Love's arm strength and Watson's speed, I just think that play was so sick. I would love for them to try that more often. Romeo Doubs had 4 catches and a touchdown, so he had a nice little day too. And I want to mention Luke Musgrave. He had a really nice diving catch that set up the Packers in the red zone. I made a very critical short regarding Musgrave a couple weeks ago, but I do want to say that the Packers should be using him as Luke Musgrave and not Tucker Kraft, and that should be to his benefit. Not sure that exactly happened in this game, but it's nice to see him contributing. I made a short about Rasheed Walker too this week, but I want to give him another shout out in this video. He recovered a Romeo Doubs fumble at the goal line, which if the Lions recovered, could have changed the entire outcome of the game. Instead, Walker falls on the ball and the Packers score 3 plays later. Shout out Rasheed Walker. And we all need to clap it up for Matt LaFleur. He coached one of the best games in his entire Packers tenure. He ran the ball when he needed to, but he let Jordan Love cook, and Love obviously played really well, and the offense scored over 30 points, which should always be enough to win. LaFleur chose to roll the dice on multiple occasions. The Packers went 3 for 3 on 4th downs, which included 2 touchdowns and the game ender. I absolutely love this identity. The Packers outlionsed the Lions, and it resulted in a big-time win. I've said it multiple times before. It is easier to play offense than defense in the NFL, so let your best offensive players dictate the game. Matt LaFleur followed this ideology, throwing the ball on 3rd and 4th downs to ice the game. Some people may call this reckless, but I completely disagree. Let Jordan Love win the game, and he did. What a call and what a game from Matt LaFleur. The defense was up and down throughout the game, but let's first talk about their good moments. In the first quarter, the Lions ran 8 plays for a total of 5 yards. This gave the Packers offense the opportunity to score points and gain an early lead, which they kinda did. In the second half, the defense allowed 10 total points on 4 Lions drives, which I'd say is good enough. They forced a turnover on downs on the opening drive of the second half, which was a pivotal moment in the game. The Lions were driving down 3 points, but the Packers defense was able to stuff Gibbs on a 4th and short. Speak of Gibbs, they pretty much shut him down. He had 20 carries for 68 yards, only a 3.4 average. Montgomery was a little bit better, but he only averaged 4 yards per carry too. The Packers' run defense has been elite at some points in the season and pedestrian at others, but it was nice for them to show up against one of the best running backs in the league. After this 4th down stop and only 2 plays later, Watson caught his long touchdown. Very complimentary football from these units. The defense then gave up a score on the following drive, which isn't ideal, and on the next Lions drive, they marched down into the Packers' territory but failed another fourth down. The Packers admittedly kind of got lucky here, with not a great throw from Goff and likely a drop from Jameson Williams. Regardless, it was a big stop by the defense. And on the Lions' final drive of the game, they had a goal-to-go situation. On third down, Micah Parsons had a big-time sack that forced the Lions to kick a field goal. This kept the lead at 7 and allowed for Matt LaFleur to be aggressive on the final drive of the game. Micah Parsons was great once again, securing 2.5 sacks. I want to give a big shout out to Isaiah McDuffie too. A couple weeks ago, I made a short complaining that we will end up seeing him more due to Quay Walker's injury. But to my surprise, McDuffie went around and played the 2 best games of his career. He has been a beast in the run game, notching 2 tackles for loss against the Lions, and only Micah Parsons had more. I am pleasantly surprised by McDuffie's level of play in the last couple weeks, and I don't know how you could keep him off the field now. Hand up, I was wrong about Isaiah McDuffie. I also want to mention Evan Williams. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. He might be the most underrated safety in the entire NFL. He is so good. There's really nothing he can't do. He's had 3 interceptions so far this season, and he's been very good in the run game too. Him and McDuffie were major reasons why Gibbs was kept in check. Williams also leads the NFL in special teams tackles. I would prefer them not playing their starting safety on special teams, but regardless, he's been very good at it and he deserves to make the Pro Bowl at 2 different positions. Let's briefly mention the special teams. Brandon McManus made all 5 of his kicks, and Daniel Wellen punted twice for an average of 67 yards. Solid outings from your top 2 kicking guys, I guess if that's what you want to call them. A lot went well in this game, but there are still a few things that went poorly, and these might be nitpicky. As mentioned before, the Packers got the ball first and kicked a field goal to go up 3-0. The defense immediately forced Detroit into a 3-and-out, and the Packers offense had the chance to put some real pressure on Detroit. Instead, they themselves go 3-and-out. I get that it's hard to complain about the Packers' offensive performance in this game, and I know they're not going to score on every single drive, but this was a great opportunity for them to start to pile it on. Instead, they punt, but thankfully the defense got a stop in 5 plays on the next drive, and the offense did end up following up that one with a touchdown to go up 10-0. Similar situation in the second half, as the Packers are up 10 points, and they get a big-time stop on 4th down with about 11 minutes left in the game. The offense immediately goes 3-and-out. Again, they had an opportunity to truly put the game away. Instead, they gained 6 yards and only run off 1 minute and 48 seconds. I would have definitely liked more there. Again, it's hard to complain, but these are some pivotal moments in the game that could have taken the offense's performance from really good to almost perfect. The defense also had a rough stretch from the second to third quarter. Yes, they got a 4th down stop on the opening drive of the second half, but the Lions' other 3 possessions in those quarters ended up as touchdowns. This really forced the offense to have to be even closer to perfect. Thankfully, they kinda were. If any one of these drives end in 0 points for the Lions, then the game would have been a lot less stressful. They also gave up conversions of 3rd and 13, 2nd and 15, and 2nd and 19 at various points in the game. You have to get off the field in these situations. Again, if they get these stops, this game could have been a blowout. Carrington Valentine, who I am a big fan of by the way, gave an extremely poor effort on a tackle that would have likely forced the Lions to kick a field goal. Instead, Jameson Williams shakes him off and has an easy jog into the end zone. The Packers would then go into the half up 17-14 instead of 17-10, and the Lions got the ball out of the break. It could be nitpicking, but these things need to be cleaned up for the final stretch of the season and into the playoffs. These mistakes could be the difference in the postseason. The corners had a rough game against Jameson Williams too. If there is any concern I have about the defense, it's definitely the cornerbacks. I've never been a Keyshawn Nixon guy, and I will continue to not be as I don't think he's very good. He did get called for a bogus illegal contact though, so I can't put too much blame on him for that. And Rashawn Gary is actively stealing $96 million from the Green Bay Packers. He had 1 pressure on Thursday. Kingsley Enagbare had more. And I've said this before, and I think it's becoming even more likely that this will be his final season as a Packer. I think the Packers brass would agree with me though that I would like to see more of Lucas Van Ness before making that decision. Then again, what has Gary done that you don't think Van Ness can do? Or even Enagbare at this point? Lastly, I want to mention that the Packers' special teams are still not perfect, despite their good punter and kicker. McManus repeatedly kicked the ball into the opposing end zone on kickoffs, granting the Lions good starting field position. I did see a tweet saying he looked upset with his performance each time he did this, so it is definitely his issue and not a coaching one. The Packers also gave up a 21-yard punt return. The punt coverage has not been great all year, and that didn't change in Week 13. The Packers' punt and kick return teams are not good either. Bo Melton had 4 returns and averaged 23.8 yards per return. With him catching the ball around the 5-yard line, which is generous, that means the Packers are failing to even get to the 30-yard line. Meanwhile, opposing teams are starting at the 35 due to the touchbacks on Packers kickoffs. This discrepancy in field position is not good and again could be an issue come playoff time. And the Packers had 1 punt return which just netted 2 yards. Though it's not even a surprise at this point. Please just sign an actual returner. Devontae Wyatt is now out for this season with a lower leg injury, meaning Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse will likely see more time. Wyatt is better against the pass than the run, which makes me worry a bit less, but it still hurts to lose your starting defensive tackle at this point in the year. The Packers take on the Bears this week at Lambeau in yet another game with major playoff implications. Both teams control their own fate to the division title. The Bears have been very good on the ground so far this year, maybe even the best in the league. But the Packers' run defense has been pretty good for most of the season too. The Bears are number 1 in turnovers forced, and it's obvious the offense is benefiting from that. So just don't turn the ball over, stop the run, and make Caleb Williams beat you. Ben Johnson, at his introductory presser, said that he enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. I hope that interview is playing loud and clear, on repeat at all Packers facilities this week. You were great last week, Matt. Let's be great again. Go Pack, go.